Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to Vidane TV here with the debuting RBR Maritime League for the Apex Tire 125 here at Southern National Motorsports Park. Great to see these guys. They're actually going to be running their season number 2, and you're going to recognize a lot of these names that have raced here on Vidane TV before from Tim's Corner Motorsports, all the events that we ran through the beginning of the year here on Vidane TV. So pretty cool to see some of these guys come back here. You see right now, top 3 look like this. Barkhouse, Suggs, and Rhino, the 15, the 33, and the 34. Going through the starting grid at the top of your screen right now. About 20 seconds left in qualifying. I am your host here tonight and producer Paul Strickland Jr. And I'm here with Kyle Young, who's sitting beside me, and we're actually waiting on Mike James from Eastbound. He's standing in line at the concession stand. It looks like we can almost see him from the booth here, but we'll sit in here doing a little bit of double duty while we wait for him to come back up here with some cheeseburgers. Getting ready to line up the grid here. Kyle, how you feeling tonight, man?
Paul, feeling very good. Good evening, everybody. Glad to be back here once again. Southern National Motorsports Park, a super awesome racetrack. It's a 4/10 of a mile banked oval, short track, of course. And this place is just so much fun. So much fun to drive, so much fun to watch. We've got a great format, a great race to come here tonight. Should provide us with some very good racing. And it looks like our first heat race is getting ready to grid up right now.
Pretty cool to see some heat race action here on Vidane TV. It's been a little bit since we've seen the heat races here, so very excited to see that. Looks like we're going to have 10 cars lined up, and Barkhouse and McClellan, that familiar Bud Light number 30, going to be starting on the front row.
Row number 2, down on the inside, he starts third, driving the number 21 machine is Roger Down, and his dancing partner starting 4th in the 16 is John Gahn.
Behind them, you'll see the number 32 on the inside, Ashton Tucker and Brandon Campbell on the outside, the 199 machine.
Taylor Layton drives the number 27 tonight. He will be starting in position number 7 for heat race number 1, and the 19 of Derek Gates will start in 8th place.
And rounding out the field here is going to be the 9th position, easy enough for me to say, Brad Hayes and John Fitzpatrick picking up the rear. 10 drivers here in heat race number 1. You can hear everybody getting those motors fired up, trying to get everything warmed up, and they're going to see what they have here in the first heat race.
So in these heat races, looks like we are scheduled to go 8 laps apiece. 9 cars will qualify. Looking here at the format, doesn't look like they currently have any consolation events scheduled, and I would assume then that means that this is your one and only shot in these heat races. So we had 10 on the grid. Looks like we have all 10 of them in here. So depending on how the format works, should be 1 car going home out of this first heat race.
Man, Kyle, how'd you like to be that one guy that doesn't make the show? That's got to be rough, especially here debuting on Vidane TV. Going to be the very first race of season number 2. These guys ran a season beforehand, and they ran a lot of Tim's Corner Motorsports events too. So pretty cool to see these guys back. Green flag in the air. Great jump by the number 15, Mark Barkhouse. Matthew Barkhouse, check my English there. Number 30 gets a great start as well. He's going to be 16 in the wall and up over his almost over onto his roof. Flips up over another car. Caution is out. Caution is out. Tough break. Big damage there for number 27. See if we can't queue up a replay.
Wild start there to heat race number 1. I believe that was the 16 machine of John Gahan. They got a little out of shape there. And as you mentioned, Paul, nearly got upside down. Somebody drove up underneath the right side of that machine. Fortunately, he was able to come back down on all 4s. And then the 27 of Taylor Layton, he was not so fortunate and also caught a piece of it going into turn number 3.
Yeah, you can see right there the wreck started with the 16 and 199 and just unfortunately nowhere for the 27 to go. You can see 16 big time damage there. Does a couple of flippy doos there, but lands it on all 4. But there's definitely some big time damage there. Now, one of the benefits here, Kyle, with iRacing's heat races, these guys don't have to race the same car. Oh, you can see he just loses it by himself. But that's a good shot. You can see these guys have actually been practicing for 2 hours now, and before the heat race and qualifying action. So there's a lot of what we call marbles up in the outside groove there. So really, it's literally like driving around on rubber pellets up there.
That very well could have been what caused the 16 machine of John Gahan to get out of shape and sideways. So we're seeing that early on. Could very well be a factor throughout the entirety of the event here tonight for the Apex Tire 125. here at Southern National Motorsports Park. Already lots of drama to kick this one off. Of course, looks like that we will not be counting caution laps through these heat races, so that's a benefit. We'll see 8 green flag laps all the way through. Field is already doubled up. We're getting ready to go back to green.
Always good to see some green flag action here. You can see the 15 and the 30, just like they got the start before at the beginning of the race. And 15 drops the hammer, gets a fantastic start, and clears the 30 before they hit into turn number 1.
Top 2 go single file. Now the top 3 will go single file as John Gahan sacrifices position, or the battle for position number 3 to the 21 of Roger Down. Now he is side by side for 4th with the number 2. That is Ashton Tucker. Tucker's going to take that spot, and he now looks to the outside of Roger Down. He gets sideways, slapped the outside wall, and Gahan's going to take that spot back.
Really took away a lot of the momentum from the 32. You can see he finds himself a position in line behind the number 16. Really opens up this door for the number 17, but it doesn't seem like he closes in too much there. You see these drivers, they're still building the air pressures in the tires. Cars running really low to the ground. You can see some sparks actually flying out of the back end of these race cars, Kyle.
Yeah, with the lower tire pressure, some of the chassis bottoming out off of the pavement just a little bit, but usually a familiar occurrence here early on in the going, with these only being 8-lap heat races. You'll probably see that throughout the majority of these, but once we get to our 125-lap main event, that shouldn't be too much of an issue as the night rolls on. But after that little incident there with Ashton Tucker and John Gahan, looks like everybody's kind of singling out, getting comfortable here, and should be fairly good to get to the end here. Coming at just a lap and a half to go, it's still Matthew Barkhouse leading Keith McCullough up at the front.
Closest battle right now for position is going to be that 3rd spot, and it looks like it was going to, if we had a few more laps, it'd be a 3-car tango. Roger Down, John Gahan, and Ashton Tucker peeking his nose in there, trying to get that 4th position from the 16, but it looks like that 15 car comes across the stripe back to his winning ways. We saw him win quite a few races there at Tim's Corner Motorsports back beginning of the year. Comes home with the victory. Taking a look at the results, Barkhouse, McClellan, Down, Gahan, and Tucker were your top 5, and we're going to jump right into heat race number 2.
Indeed, we will. First one down, second one getting up onto the grid at the moment. Here's how we'll line them up. Starting on the pole, he's kind of the odd man out here in the RBR Maritime League. He is the lone American, and he will get to lead heat race number 2 from the point. That's the 33 machine of Brett Suggs. And the outside pole sitter, driving car number 98, is Kyle Gammon.
Behind him, starting 3rd in the number 2 machine, going to be Todd Cousins, and outside of him, the 83 of Chris Roma.
Your 5th place starter for this heat race drives the number, I lost my grid here. He drives the number 38 machine. That is Travis Roma. And starting in position number 6 in the 67 is Wade Craswell.
Rounding out the field here, we've got Magic Mike Alexander, the number 75, wins just about everything he's in. Mark Williams in the 42, and Cody Moorcroft in the number 80. Looks like Nick, we'll call it Nick Pothier in the 51, missed the start of the race, so not sure what the deal is there, but that, Kyle, translate into these 9 drivers making the race.
It doesn't even look like Nick is even in the server at the moment, so no pressure for these guys to qualify for tonight's Apex Tire 125. This will be just to determine the starting order for them. But of course, you know they're going to be giving it their all. They're going to try to see what they've got in racing conditions, and they'll get that opportunity here. Green flag comes out, an awesome start on the top side for Kyle Gammon. He's going to lead the field going down into turn number 1, but a great run through the center of 1 and 2 is going to allow Brett Suggs to pull ahead. They'll now enter just about even going into turn number 3. Gammon fighting tough. He gets sideways off of 4, and Brett Suggs will lead lap 1.
Great racing all the way through. Whoa, a little bit of backwards. Looks like some issues back in the front, but everybody gathers it back up. Now, Kyle, this is a really good opportunity knowing that you're going to make the race here with only 9 drivers in this heat race. Good opportunity to really to use it as a test session in race conditions. And a lot of these guys, pretty much all of them, are using them as an extended practice. Always good to get 8 green flag laps of practice to know exactly what your car's going to do, really even just on a short run.
No, that's very true, Paul. During the practice sessions, you don't really have any pressure to do anything. It's just running laps at your own leisure. But now that you're in a racing environment, you have an opportunity to see what your speed is like to contend with other drivers out on the racetrack in that same environment. Gives you an opportunity to see what passing is like, what runs are like, where your car is better than others, and how you just handle this racetrack in general. So we're seeing some single file throughout the field here. Now it looks like coming off of turn number 4, Mike Alexander is going to peek to the inside of Travis Roma. That's a battle for 5th. He's very well underneath now, going down the back straightaway, and he's got a slight advantage going into 3.
Really doing a great job at the number 75 of Mike Alexander, holding on to that bottom line. But Roma on that 38 machine doing a great job holding tough on the outside. Finally gets him cleared here, comes up in front of him and clears the position. Mike Alexander move him on up to number P5. Drop the Travis Roma machine back down to 6th.
Final time around the Southern National Motorsports Park for Brett Suggs. He's down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. 4/10 of a second his lead, and he'll take that lead to the checker. Heat race number 2 goes to the American in the field, Brett Suggs in the 33. Kyle Gammon's going to finish second in the 98. The 83 of Chris Roma third. Todd Cousins in the 2 and 4th. And you saw that pass there with a couple laps to go. Mike Alexander in the 75 rounds out the top 5. Travis Roma in 6th. Cody Moorcroft will finish in position number 7. Wade Craswell will be 8th. 9th place finisher and the final transfer spot to the 42 of Mark Williams, sending the 51 of Nick Pothier home without a start.
Heat race number 3, lining them up already, and we can see right now Mike Rhino is going to be starting in the number 1 spot. Right outside of him, the number 97 of Riley Duncan.
3rd place starter, driving car number 89, is Conrad Murphy, and the 29 machine will line up to Conrad's outside. That is Daniel Vitch.
Behind them, starting P5, the number 84, Lewis Mason, with Tanton Woldbridge and the double aught on the starting 6th.
7th place starter, driving car number 5, is Craig Tully, and your 8th place starter in the 24 machine is Jake Goodwin.
And rounding out the field, starting shotgun in P9, the number 70 of Brandon Lively.
So once again, 9 cars lining up for this final heat race. Everybody going to transfer on. So we should see roughly 27 cars starting the Apex Tire 125 here in just a handful of minutes. That will, of course, be a 125-lap feature event to kick off the season here for the RBR Maritime League. So far, we're seeing some good stuff here in the heat races, some good racing, some challenges early that these drivers have been having to face with their race cars and the racetrack. We'll see what happens here with heat race number 3 as the pace car goes to pit road. Mike Rhino, Riley Duncan in the front row, they all fire and race down into turn number 1 for the first time. Even start between your front row. Now Rhino with the advantage coming off at turn number 2. Riley Duncan going to try to fit in line with the 89 of Conrad Murphy, drives it in there deep, and he's going to take over second coming off at turn number 1.
Murphy does a fantastic job there, and that number 89 holding on. Looks like we got caution on the speedway. We'll see if we can take a look there. The number 5, Craig Tully around. Big time damage there to both sides of the front end of that race car. See if we can pull up the instant replay there, sponsored by Kick-Ass Beef Jerky.
Yeah, taking a look at it myself here, looks like the number 84 machine of Lewis Mason, he had some contact there with the 29 car of Daniel Vitch. And as you mentioned there, Craig Tully right behind the 84 wasn't able to really catch that in time. Got into the back of Lewis's machine, spun him around to the inside wall, and Craig Tully also got a piece of that inside wall. Found the number 70 of Brandon Lively and took a spin himself there in turn number 1.
Yeah, tough break for Tully in the 5 car. Really nowhere for him to go at that point in time. And it's unfortunate, but it's one of those good things, like we made mention earlier. 9 guys in this heat race, 9 drivers, so everybody's going to be moving on to the big show here later on tonight, and they'll be able to reset, essentially start with a brand new race car. They don't necessarily have to race the car that they're running in the heat race in the feature event, so that's pretty cool for these drivers.
Now this will be their one and only mulligan of the night. Contrary to some of the other series that we see with us on Verdane TV, these guys do not have a fast repair tonight. So any damages that they sustain to their vehicles, they will have to repair on their own. So no freebies. You can't just pile it off into the turn 3 wall, come to pit road, and at the snap of the finger have your brand new race car for you. You have to manage your aggression. You have to manage your mistakes and keep your car clean throughout tonight's feature event. So if you're going to have any issues, now's the time to do it, especially seeing that nobody's going to be sent home through this heat race. So the field is doubled up coming down the back straightaway here. We will go green flag this time by. Lap number 2 will go in the books. We will have 6 laps left to go. Mike Ryan will still go race leader over Conrad Murphy in position number 2. Hang on, the 00 machine. Tanton Woolridge gets a bump from behind. I believe that was from the 70 machine of Brandon Lively. Woolridge almost had it gathered up, but was not able to do so. Spins across the top side of turn number 1 and has a meeting with the outside wall. And caution flag number 2 will fly here in heat race number 3.
You got to wonder, Kyle, if these guys are kind of using this to push the limits of the race cars here. We're going to see if we can get another instant replay here. The double odd car, the black and orange machine there. Looks like he was running about 5th place there when the caution came out. So we're going to take a look. You can see the 24 gets a little piece of the wall. 90 comes down just a skosh and gets in front of the number 70 car, sends him up onto the wall. But he is able to grab a gear, get on going, and it looks like he is able to beat the pace car there. So that's good news. Tanton Woolridge is going to stay on the lead lap, so that's definitely some good news for him. Speaking of guys up north and drivers up north and fans and family and all that good stuff up north, do want to just give a quick shout out to the boys up north that are watching. Mike Sr. might be sleeping, but we'll say hi to Michael Jr. and Wyatt, and I'm sure Jess is watching too, and just want to say hi, you guys, and well, hopefully we'll see you soon. I know we got a couple of hunting trips next month, hopefully, so see you guys soon, and good to see you guys are watching.
Always glad to see everybody watching with us here tonight on Vidane TV. Of course, if you are out there, make sure to drop a comment in our Facebook chat. We're always watching that. Love to get you guys included. And if you're having a viewing party of some sorts, make sure to post it on social media using the hashtag Vidane TV. We'll take a look at it, check it out, and hopefully throw you up on the broadcast and give you a little bit of love as well. So we're going to give it another go here, Paul. Lined up once again. Lap number 3 will be completed. So 5 laps this time. Double file. Let's see what happens. Mike Rano with a monstrous start coming off at turn number 4. He's going to jump out to the lead. Put Conrad Murphy single file behind him, and now Riley Duncan, Jake Goodwin go side by side. Goodwin's going to lose position number 3 and position number 4 as Duncan and Craig Tully get around his 24. But he's going to try to go right back on the attack and already look to the inside of Craig Tully.
Yeah, the 24 seemed to have lost a lot of ground. He went up high and just seemed to lose control of the car there. But they are side by side. Oh, they straighten it back out behind them. The number 70 and the 84 behind them.
Starting to get themselves into a bit of a rhythm. Riley Duncan then that 3rd position, slowly creeping in on the number 89 of Conrad Murphy, eliminating that gap that he's got. Looks like he's running a bit of a lower line through the turns, and he's going to take that lower line, peek to the inside, contact is made, Murphy slides, caution flag comes out. Looks like Conrad Murphy was going to save that thing, but race officials did not like what they saw with him sliding in the middle of the field, so the yellow flag came out. Hard racing there. We're seeing it here in this 3rd heat race, and unfortunately a little bit of contact there. Doesn't look like there's much damage on that 89 machine, but of course he will get sent to the tail for this heat race, and we will be extended to a green-white checker finish, the first of 3 that we will potentially have in our heat races.
Yeah, there you see it right there. Another kick-ass beef jerky instant replay. You can see the 89 comes down just a little bit as he's heading into the turn. 97 just gives him a little bit of a boop right there in the quarter panel, sends him on around. Doesn't hit anything, gathers it back up, grabs a gear, and kind of moves on through. He's going to be restarting in the tail end of the field, but still going to be able to get going and get moving for the finish here.
So as mentioned, it will be a green-white checkered finish. We'll have 3 attempts if needed for the green flag finish of our 3rd and final heat race. Of course, this all leads up into the Apex Tire 125 here for the RBR Maritime League, getting set to kick off their season here tonight. Looks like it should give us around 27 cars or so for this opening event. We've seen some good racing, we've seen some challenges, we've seen some mistakes, to be frank about it, with the competition so far, and it's only going to get a little bit more challenging having all of those cars out on the racetrack at one time compared to these 9-car heat races, but that's what makes it more exciting, Paul. Throwing 27 cars on a track smaller than a half mile, it's going to be great.
Yeah, most definitely. You can see there's a lot of tore up race cars in this heat race, so it's going to be. Is it going to be a kind of a? You can see we got a single file restart here, as you made mention earlier. But it's going to be able to kind of show us. You see the 24 dipping down low, thinks better of it, comes back in line. Are these guys going to be running damaged race cars later on this evening? It's going to be tough to tell, but at least at this point they'll be able to see how those cars are going to handle.
White flag's going to come out for race leader Mike Rhino. He's been in control all the way through of this heat race and looking good down the back stretch for the final time. The number 34, Mike Rhino, making it look easy. He will take the checkered flag and win heat race number 3 over the 5 machine of Craig Tully. Jake Goodwin will finish in 3rd, Brandon Lively 4th. Tainton Woolridge comes back from his spin there and gets a top 5 finish. Your remaining finishers, the 6th place finisher, Daniel Vitch, will be 6th. 7th is Lewis Mason, 8th, Riley Duncan, and 9th, Conrad Murphy.
See the fireworks going off in the background. Usually they hold on to that for the end of the race, but they know that we're going to have one heck of a race here as the drivers are lining up. Fireworks are going off there in turns 1 and 2, and the flashbulbs are going off there with all of the fans there. We're going to get ready to go racing, and starting on the pole, no surprise there, that number 15, Matthew Barkhouse, and outside of him, the lone Southerner, Brett Suggs, in the number 33.
Starting in position number 3, you just saw him go to victory lane in heat race number 3. That's the 34 of Mike Grano, and starting 4th in the Bud Light number 30 is Keith McClellan.
Gotta love that Bud Light car. As a matter of fact, we'll support that sponsor right now. Behind him is going to be the 98 on the inside, starting 5th, Kyle Gammon. Craig Tully, we saw him get into trouble earlier on in one of the heat races. He's going to start P6.
7th place starter, driving car number 21, is Roger Down, and starting 8th in the 83 is Chris Roma.
Jake Goodwin and John Gahan, they're going to start 9th and 10th, respectively.
Row number 6 will find the 2 of Todd Cousins to the inside, and 11th in the 70 of Brendan Lively will start on the outside in 12th.
Starting lucky number 13, the number 32 of Ashton Tucker and Magic Mike Alexander in that number 75 machine. He's going to be starting 14th.
Starting in position number 15 in the 00 is Tainton Woolridge, and the 17 of Brad Hayes will start to his outside in 16th.
Travis Roma finds himself in P17 with Daniel Veach starting 18th on the outside.
Completing your top 20 as we come to the green flag, the 78 of John Fitzpatrick and the 80 of Cody Moorcroft.
And rounding out the 27-car field, Lewis Mason in the 84, Taylor Light and Wade Castle, Riley Duncan, Derek Gates, Mark Williams, and Conrad Murphy. Green flag in the air. We're still side by side up front, 33 and 34, as they move on down into the corner.
First lap going to be complete here in the Apex Tire 125. It will go to Mike Rhino in the 34 machine. Battle for second rages on. Right behind him, Brett Suggs and Kyle Gammon side by side. Gammon has the advantage on the bottom of the racetrack. Nearly clears the 33 of Suggs going in turn 3, but can't quite do it. Now he will, coming off at turn number 4. The door is still open, but the caution flag flies for the first time. We have trouble with the number 84 machine of Lewis Mason, and it looks like the 42 of Mark Williams also getting involved. Both cars have left the scene. Doesn't appear too much damage on either of those vehicles.
That's right. One thing that a lot of our fans are probably wondering, where the heck did the 15 go? Matthew Barkhouse qualified on the pole, and he's currently 24th. That car's still clean. A little bit of rubber buildup on the inside and outside, the corner panels and all that stuff. But it appears that Matthew Barkhouse has taken the Vinotes Truck and Auto Pole Position Challenge. And that basically goes out to every single race of this season. Whoever wins the pole has the opportunity to go to the back of the pack for $15, brought to you by Vinotes Truck and Auto. So very cool little deal there. I know myself personally, I don't know if I'd take that. I know these short track races, I'm never really all that good at them, but you know, track position is definitely key. But then again, we also saw, Kyle, earlier on in the heat races that the green flag or the yellow flag laps don't count towards the final lap caution, or the lap count rather. So yeah, it's kind of a toss-up whether or not that's going to be a good move. We'll have to see where he ends up.
Well, we saw that for the heat races, Paul. I've been paying attention under this first caution. The caution laps are counting in the feature events, so with every caution flag that does come out, those are just fewer opportunities for Matthew Barkhouse to work his way through the field. But let's be honest here, Paul. If there's anybody that's going to be able to accomplish that, it's the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse. We are no strangers to him here on Vidane TV. We know how successful of a sim racer he is. He could very easily be the guy to claim the first award of the season to be able to do this. Of course, he has a long way to go. There's still a lot of race left. but it'll definitely give us something to watch with the 15 of Matthew Barkhouse having a charge from the rear of the field.
You're absolutely right, and it's always all about entertaining the masses here at Vidane TV, and that's tonight is no different. A lot of these drivers we've seen before. The pace car is going to dip on down, and 34 is going to smash that loud pedal. Mike Rhino with a great restart clears the number 2 machine of Kyle Gammon in the number 98 machine and heads on down on the backstretch with a 2-car lead heading into turn number 3.
Gammon got a good restart himself and was able to jump down to the bottom, leaving the side-by-side battle to go on behind him for position number 3. Brett Suggs is on the bottom. The Bud Light 30 of Keith McClellan is on the top side. McClellan is going to lose that position. He's got a hole to fit in front of Roger Down. Down is trying to get underneath of him. I think he's there coming off of turn number 4. McClellan can't quite get down to the bottom side. Roger is there side-by-side for 4th. And now we have a side-by-side battle going on for 2nd. Just in front of them, Brett Suggs underneath the Kyle Gammon.
2x2 up front, but all the way up front's going to be Mike Rhino checking out. He's got almost a full second lead over number 233 of the number 2 spot, the number 33 car, Brett Suggs. Easy enough for me to say. They think better of it. The top 3 single file now second, 2x2, 2 wide anyway there with the 21 and the 30.
Battle still continuing on for 4th with Roger Down and Keith McClellan. Much different than what we were seeing last night with our NEP race at Stafford Motor Speedway. The banking here at Southern National Motorsports Park really providing some good opportunities on the top side. A little bit of contact was made there between the 21 and the 30. That allows Roger Down to clear for position number 4, open the door for Jake Goodwin to take advantage of it. And now he is in the same position that Roger Down was just in, but he gets a big slide coming off of turn number 2, gathers it up, and McClellan will take over that spot. Doesn't completely come down to the bottom, but now it doesn't matter where he's running because the caution flag has flown for the 2nd time.
Caution flag on the speedway. We'll see if we can take a peek and see exactly what went down there. You can see a nice wide-angle shot of the track. We're looking, it looks like it may have been in turns 3 and 4. Well, there's nobody around over there, Kyle.
It happened over in 1 and 2, Paul. Lap number 14, contact between the 97 of Riley Duncan and the 67 of Wade Craswell. Duncan tried to fit in underneath of him, made a little bit of contact, and look who got caught up in that one, Paul. Matthew Barkhouse finding the right side door of the 67, got that car up off of the racetrack. He took a pretty significant shot to the 67 of Wade Craswell, so that is going to have an impact on him trying to come up and winning this race to collect that $15 bonus.
For sure, and that's definitely a tough break. We're just pulling up the instant replay now, brought to you by Kick-Ass Beef Jerky. We're going to take a look at it from the blimp view. We're not sure if it's the Goodyear blimp here at Southern National, but we'll call it that. And you can see the 97 gets into the 67, shoots him around a little bit. Big hit there for the 15. That's definitely going to damage the motor of that race car. We'll see how strong he is, but you can see there's some damage there on the right front quarter panel of the 67 as well as the pace car comes zooming on by. So tough break for those guys, the 67, the 15, and the 89, the 15 and the 89 already a lap down. So they may very, excuse me, they may very well be retired for the evening.
Just like that, we're back to green flag racing, and Mike Rhino once again jumps out to the early race lead off the restart. Brett Suggs trying to make that top side work. Kyle Gammon able to hang underneath of the 33 of Suggs to challenge for position number 2. Mike Rhino, the only car that's clean on his own. Everybody else behind him side by side. Great battling off this restart. Gammon still fighting tough with Brett Suggs. The battle between Keith McClellan and Roger Down reignited, and even more battling. Oh, we got some cars together in the center of 3 and 4. No caution just yet, and now it does come out. Trying to get back there to see who was involved. Looks like we've got the 78 of John Fitzpatrick and the 16 of John Gahan, who spun around there in the center of 3 and 4.
Back up the old instant replay one more time here. It's unfortunate that these guys are getting into each other. It's one of those things where you really want to try and find a rhythm and click off some laps here. We're going to take a look. You see the 78 getting into the 16. Both drivers head on down to the inside wall, and they both make a little bit of contact. Nothing huge. They're able to kind of spin around just a little bit. You see the 78's got a bit of damage there on the nose. Same with the number 16 machine of John Gahan there. So tough break for those guys, but yeah, we're going to line them back up and see if we can do it again.
So a little bit of attrition filling the early laps of tonight's Apex Tire 125. Nothing to be too overly surprised about. That's just good old short track racing. We mentioned it, 27 cars out here on the racetrack covering this 4/10 of a mile short track. Not a lot of room to work with out there, and you saw it there with that incident. Guys trying to fit their cars into holes that aren't quite there just yet. Getting some early mistakes out of the way. John Gahan is going to take his 16 down to pit road to try to service the front end of that machine. We'll see what the crew is able to do. Looks like the majority of the damage is on the left front portion of that race car. He didn't stay down there too long as he's already rolling back. Of course, with this being a small short track, these guys don't have a lot of time to work with on pit road, and with the caution laps counting, he would lose a lap if the pace car were to come around. So it's going to be very difficult for anybody to repair their vehicles if they do suffer damage throughout tonight's event.
You saw him come around the pace car. The number 15, Matthew Barkhouse, receives the lucky dog there. That's going to put 26 cars on the lead lap of the 27 in the field. So the 89, as you made mention earlier, Conrad Murphy, the only car one lap down currently. Lights are off on the pace car, lining them up 2 by 2 all the way through the field. Going to get going for another restart here at Southern National.
Now, once again, you'll have Mike Ronald, the pole sitter for the restart, and now Kyle Gammon gets back to the outside. Brett Suggs will line up in third, Keith McClellan fourth, Roger Down completing your top 5. So here we go, pace car ducks down, lap number 26 will go on the board, and we are back to racing here at Southern National Motorsports Park. Great job there by Kyle Gammon, gets down in front of Brett Suggs. Keith McClellan using that outside line to his advantage. He's pulled side by side with the third place restarters. A little bit of a wiggle there off of turn 4, but he makes it work. He's leading Brett Suggs going into turn number 1, trying to use that top side to pull away once again, but here comes Suggs on the bottom. Roger Down and Ashton Tucker side by side themselves. They want to make it a 4-car battle for position number 3.
It almost seems like on one side of the racetrack, the low line has got the advantage, and on the other side, it's the high line, because these guys are able to run side by side, lap after lap. And just as I say that, they think better of it, the 33 and the 30. They line back up, but they are still side by side. Oh, nope, just kidding. Now you see the 5 looking on down low, the 32 losing a couple of spots there. The 32 machine of Ashton Tucker kind of sliding on backwards. You see the 24 Napa ride. He's going to look low on the 32 and try and follow Tully through to gain one more position.
As the laps tick on and this race continues to go, if we can get the green flag laps in that outer groove, it'll start to see some rubber, it'll start to see some temperature go up, and should provide these guys an option the longer we go. So far, you're seeing Ashton Tucker's 32 car. He was doing a pretty good job there of hanging tough on the outside of Craig Tully, but a little bit of contact between the two coming off at turn number 4 allowed Craig Tully to win that battle. Now Jay Goodwin trying to do the same. You see Mike Alexander trying to get involved with that one, as well as the 83 of Chris Roma. So some awesome battling going on here for position 7 through 10. Jay Goodwin gets around Ashton Tucker, and now Roma and Mike Alexander continue their side-by-side battle off and forward.
You saw a couple laps ago, Kyle, the number 5, Craig Tully, a little bit of a wiggle there. You got to wonder if he was looking in his rearview mirror, seeing that number 75 of Mike Alexander. Mike Alexander is one of the strongest super late model drivers I've seen here in the iRacing series, especially with the Tim's Corner Motorsports. Like I said, wins just about everything he's in. We had ended up having about a full sheet of nicknames. There you see this 24 getting a little piece of the wall, sending some sparks into the air. A little bit of fireworks, if you will, here racing at the nighttime track. But 75 looking really strong. He's able to hold on to that outside. You got to wonder, Kyle, how strong is he going to be if he can make it down to that low line?
We're not going to find out anytime soon, Paul. Mike Alexander is not giving up on that top side. He really wants that thing to work to get around the 83 of Chris Roma. Brandon Lively right behind. He's just trying to figure out which one of these guys is going to get the advantage so he can jump up or down into that line and file around the other one. He's got a great front row seat to this battle. It just will not end. They're both just so even. Looks like Roma has the advantage coming into the turns, but through the center off, it actually looks like Mike Alexander is using that top side to his advantage. They'll come off of turn number 4 once again. Roma's got a bit of a nose at the line, but there's no clear advantage, no clear superior driver in this battle.
Best seat in the house for this battle is going to be the cockpit of the number 70 of Brandon Lively looking on. You can hear he's way off the throttle, making sure that he's not going to get into the back of either of these drivers, but you can tell definitely driving hungry. He wants to get around both of these guys and see if he can't move on up the field to try and capture that lead.
Mike Alexander with a bit of a nose in front going into turn number 3. That time Lively thought about making it 3 wide coming off of turn number 4. Roma with a small slide going into 1 that time. And again, just continuing this battle side by side. When one car gets the advantage, the other one fights right back and says, no, I'm the man. Going down into turn number 1, Roma with the advantage, slides up just a little bit, and you see that run that Alexander gets coming off the top of turn number 2. He pulls even, he pulls ahead going into turn number 3, and through the center that time, Roma gets the advantage coming off the bottom of turn number 4, and leads Alexander into turn number 1. This is why Southern National is so good, Paul. Great racing, and now Chris Roma finally wins that battle.
Yep, there you saw there was a little bit of a wiggle from the number 75 machine, and he just lost just enough momentum. But now you can see he knows he's got a fast car. He knows he's able to contend with the number 83, and he keeps on peeking his nose down on the inside, trying to outbrake the 83 to see if he can get himself a little bit of track position to try and get around the 83 car.
That side-by-side battle halted their progress on the cars in front of them. They now have give it about 10 car lengths up to the group that Ashton Tucker, Jake Goodwin, and Craig Tully are currently racing in. Those 3 guys still single file. They're trying to run down the 21 of Roger down. Roger is about half a second in front of these guys, and now Ashton Tucker peeks to the inside of Jake Goodwin's Napa 24. Great move, great powerhouse move coming off at turn number 4. He makes quick work of Jake Goodwin and takes over position number 7.
Back up front, it's still the Mike Rhino show. He's got about a half-second lead over Kyle Gammon in the 98, and you're seeing right now, he's getting around some lap traffic. They're doing a great job going way high, staying out of the way. They don't really want to be a factor in the outcome of this race, being that they're just a little bit slower than everybody else, but it's actually playing a factor, it looks like. Kyle Gammon was able to close in 2/10 on the leader. He's about 0.3 of a second back, and you can see Brett Suggs is there as well. All 3 of these drivers, 4 drivers, 5 drivers, that looks like the top 10 or so, pretty much lined up single file trying to get around this lap traffic.
Wade Craswell will be the next driver that Mike Rhino has to encounter. Never mind, we've got trouble. The 19 machine has spun around at the bottom of turn number 2. That is Derek Gates. Caution flag returning to the speedway. Ends a nice little green flag run that we had going on there. Not exactly sure what happened to Derek. Quick look. Looks like he had some help from the 89 of Conrad Murphy.
Pulling up the old Kick-Ass Beef Jerky instant replay, and we'll give it to you from the chopper view. And you can see the 19 heads down. It looks like he checks up just a little bit from the 29, and the 89 just had really nowhere to go, just kind of gives him a little bit of a shot and sends him on around. So it's unfortunate, but it doesn't look like he hit anything too bad. He's got some damage from an earlier incident, but he's able to hold on to the brakes, let everybody by, and you can see he's going to pull down pit road there. Actually, it looks like he might just kind of spin around and catch the tail end of the field. So gives him an opportunity, and it looks like the 27 car of Taylor Layton, he's going to be the lucky dog. That's going to put him back on the lead lap, and that'll give us 25 cars on the lead lap when we get ready to go back green, Kyle.
Only 2 cars off of the lead lap are actually the 2 cars that we just mentioned that were involved in that incident, the 89 of Conrad Murphy and the 19 of Derek Gates. That caution couldn't have come out at a better time for the 67 of Wade Craswell. Craswell was just about ready to go a lap down to race leader Mike Rhino, so this gives him an opportunity to stay in the lead lap and try to better his ride for the next green flag run. Saw the 16 of John Gahan get down onto pit road, could potentially be working on some more damage repair. Looks like he's also going to take left side tires on this pit stop. Matthew Barkhouse has also made his presence known on pit road. He will come down. Both cars are not going to beat the leaders out, so John Gahan's going to try to skirt around the field, but I believe he was a little late on that, and those 2 cars should be a lap down, potentially not. John might have actually beat him. He's catching up to the back of the field.
It's one of those things, it's really, sometimes you got to go back to the cameras and take a peek at it. You don't quite catch it with your eye. Sometimes you got to go to the timing and scoring and see just where these guys are. So you can see it looks like the number 15 skates on away, getting some damage, some service done to that race car. Doubling them up, the lights are off on that pace car. No surprise up front. Mike Rhino holding on to the P1 position. Kyle Gammon on the outside, the 98. Brett Suggs in 3rd, McClellan in 4th, and Craig Tully is going to be restarting 5th. 55
laps in the books this time. We will have 70 laps remaining into the Apex Tire 125. Once again, Kyle Gambin has been a master on that outside line. He wastes little time, finds that hole to get down and not have to worry about the outside line. He booped the outside wall there just a little bit, but doesn't affect him too much. We're single file throughout the first few cars, side by side for position number 5. Ashton Tucker wants that top 5 spot. He's underneath to Keith McClellan, and he leads McClellan going into 3.
You can see as these cars are going by, the camera's brake rotors are red hot. These guys are really applying a lot of brake pressure to these cars to try and slow them down, sink the nose of that car into the ground to really get them to turn. You see the 30 gets a little piece of the wall, sends some sparks flying, but no major damage there. These guys are doing a great job. They're really starting to get racy and feel the race cars out, trying to figure out what they're going to do to move their way up to the front here in the second half.
Caution flag has returned to the racing surface. We have another problem on the front straightaway going into turn number 1, and it looks like it may have something to do with, nope, I lied, not having anything to do with the 27 of Taylor Layton. Oh man, big crash for the 78 of John Fitzpatrick. He gets upside down on the front straightaway. He made some contact there with the number 80 machine. That is driven by Cody Moorcroft, and the contact with the right front nose getting into the outside wall flips the 78 of John Fitzpatrick upside down. He comes back onto all fours, and then the 29 machine also getting involved, Daniel Vitch. Man, what a wild ride there for John Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, he sticks to landing, but unfortunately he scrapes on the roof. For taking a look on the cockpit right now. And unfortunate event because he's upside down. He's got some big-time damage, and you can hear the motor actually sound, well, it looks like the motor's going to sound empty because he has gotten out of that race car there on pit road. So the 78 machine of John Fitzpatrick is done for the evening.
Unfortunate way for John to kick off his RBR Maritime season here at Southern National Motorsports Park. He will be our first DNF of the season. He's going to be credited with a 27th place finish, so very unfortunate for John Fitzpatrick. He'll be looking to rebound next week and hopefully correct the wrong that he had to deal with here tonight. So getting down to it here, Paul, we're now at the halfway mark of tonight's Apex Tire 125. It's been dominated by one man, Mike Rhino. He's been very strong at the front of this field. He's been perfect on the restarts. But Kyle Gambin's been very good in that 98 car. He's had to take these last few restarts on that outside line, but every time he starts out there, he's able to find a hole in front of Brett Suggs and drop right down to the bottom, but just hasn't quite been able to challenge Rhino for the race lead just yet.
Yeah, just taking a quick look at the stats of the race as we line them back up. The pace lights are off in the pace car. 5 cautions for 23 laps, but these guys have still been able to run 2/3 of these laps under green, and they've really been able to feel out the race cars and see what they've got for the end of the race here. 34 with another fantastic start. Gets at least a 5-6 car length lead heading on down into turn number 1. Side by side for that P number 2 spot. Brett Suggs in the 33. Rocking those pink numbers for October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Got to wonder if that's what those are for. He's going to look down low, try and get around that 98 machine, see if we can get a new P2 spot.
Brett may have been learning something about Kyle Gambin off the previous restarts. Did not allow him to jump down in front of him, and he takes advantage of it. He moves to second. Now Ashton Tucker gets underneath of Kyle Gambin. Those two nearly made contact in turn number 3. That might have affected Tucker's run, as now Kyle Gambin wins that battle and solidifies himself back into third. But look at the run Tucker gets coming off at turn number 2. You've got a car stopped on the bottom of the backstretch. He gets off the track. No caution flown. This will continue on going into turn number 1. Ashton Tucker trying to get back underneath the Kyle Gambin. Gambin's got him on the entries. Looks like Tucker might be a little bit better on the exits, but right now the advantage goes to Kyle Gambin, and now the caution flag flies.
Looks like the 42 may have been involved there. Mark Williams will load up the kick-ass beef jerky. Instant replay, see if we can find out exactly what the trouble was there. And you can see, well, it looks like it might have been a little bit of 3-wide action here, Kyle. We're going to take a look, pulling up the replay now and hitting the old play button. 42 jumps in the middle there between the 15 and just gets spun around the nose of the 16 car, backs into the wall, and gives it just a little bit of a kiss there with the left front fender. So don't think that's going to affect the handling of the car too much. You can see he didn't even stop at that point, just kind of grabbed second or third gear and kept going, caught the tail end of the pack, and he's going to be essentially ready to go racing here once we get going to the green.
That was actually a secondary incident on that whole caution flag there, Paul. The initial that started in turn number 1, the 38 machine of Travis Roma, I think he might have gotten a little bit checked up, tried to avoid running into the back of the 2 car of Todd Cousins going into turn number 1. And when he did that, the 70 of Brendan Lively got into the back bumper of that 38 machine, spun the 38 around. The 17 you saw there, that made a slow avoidance to get around that. That is Brad Hayes, and I think that Hayes being a little bit slower than normal because he was avoiding that kind of checked up Matthew Barkhouse and the 42 Mark Williams there, and that might have been what led to Williams going around on the backstretch.
Definitely could have been, but back up front is going to be Mike Rhino in the number 34. New second place driver, Brett Suggs in the 33. You got to wonder, is that going to give him the opportunity to maybe get around the 34 car, as we haven't been able to see that just yet with the 98 car of Gammon. So maybe Suggs has a little bit stronger car. He'll be restarting on the outside for a change, and we've seen some of these guys have really been able to make up some time on that outside line.
Yeah, the track is starting to really come into a good shape. We saw that fantastic battle between the 83 of Chris Roma and the 75 of Mike Alexander. There's definitely something to work with on that top side, but I think just right now with Mike Rhino being the man that gets to fire first, he's showing how much of an advantage that is. Nobody has been able to challenge him for the race lead off of these restarts. Let's see what happens this time. Brett Suggs was anticipating it.
Oh, big wreck!
He gets turned around by the 32 of Ashton Tucker, and we are piling him up big time on the front stretch and into turn 1.
Who was it that coined the phrase? Tony Stephen? We're stacking them up.
Oh, we definitely stacked them up right there. My, oh my. What a horrible, horrible restart gone wrong there. Looks like, oh my goodness gracious, looking at it myself, that was a Talladega-sized big one right there, ladies and gentlemen. I think Ashton Tucker in the 32, he got a little bit sideways coming off at turn number 4 rather. Got into the right rear corner panel of Kyle Gammon. Gammon, just an innocent victim, gets hooked head on into the outside wall. And of course, with that happening right in the middle of the pack and in front of the field, everybody behind starts to enter the mix. Chris Roma, Roger Down, Craig Tully, Todd Cousins all getting a big piece of this one. The 17 of Brad Hayes, John Gahan, Canton Woolridge. Might have been easier to tell you who wasn't involved in that crash.
Yeah, we're actually going to take a look at this one in slow motion, Kyle. You can see pretty much the top 2 guys. Mike Alexander's able to slip on by. Looks like no fuss, no muss there. The 97 slips on by. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars up front that didn't get a piece of it. Looks like Craig Tully's able to get by with no damage there. But unfortunately, at that point, the track is blocked, and there's just cars piling into each other right there. You see the 89, the 24. They do a great job slamming on the binders, getting those cars woed up, and everybody at this point, got a lot of junk race cars. So it's going to give us, looks like 16 cars maybe on the lead lap. It may very well be less than that once we get back going green, but you can see everybody, nobody's retired from the race right yet. See the 17 just kind of slams on the gas pedal to get that thing spun around and pointed in the right direction. But man, junkyard there in turn number 1.
Yeah, this is definitely going to shake things up in a dramatic way, not only for the front of the field, but for the field in general. You see now, we're going to get them doubled up. The guys that were trapped on the tail end of the lead lap are going to get an opportunity to go around. I'm not too sure if we're going to go green here or not. Some of the stragglers still out there. Looks like we will. Here we go. Green flag back out. Mike Rhino, Brett Suggs, your front row. Keith McClellan and Craig Tully make up row number 2. And now Mike Alexander enters the mix for the first time. You know, Paul, I was saying earlier that Matthew Barkhouse may be in trouble with that earlier incident he was in. Guess who's in position number 7 right now?
Doing a great job, war of attrition here with these drivers, and you can see, you said that earlier on, absolutely, and I'm looking up front, Brett Suggs is still holding tough. First challenge of the night for the lead there for Mike Rhino. 34 car holding on to the bottom side, 33 holding on to the top side, loses it just there in turn number 1, trying to gain that position back, but he's got a side full of the Bud Light machine there, the number 30 of Keith McClellan, trying to get that number 2 spot.
Brett Suggs made a great fight on the top side of Mike Rhino. Keith McClellan trying to take advantage of that, but the caution flag will put that battle on hold. We've got a few cars slow over in turn number 3. One of them, Travis Roma, facing the wrong way up at the top of turns 3 and 4. His number 38 machine. Not exactly sure how he ended up there, but we'll get that pulled up and show it to you. Looks like that started further up ahead of Roma with the 84 of Lewis Mason. Oh my goodness, he made it all by himself, slapped the outside wall, and took a vicious head-on shot to the inside wall.
Yeah, tough break. We're actually just taking a quick look here, a wide-angle shot, if you will. You're seeing a lot of, there's a lot of black stripes there on the inside, all the way down on the wall and on the outside. That's basically the balls of rubber that are coming off the tires. You got to wonder, well, you don't even really have to wonder. It's really going to make these cars handle much, much worse than they did earlier on in the race. It's going to loosen them up, and it basically makes it so you're not making any kind of contact with the actual racing surface. You're literally driving on marbles, Kyle. So you got to wonder if these caution after caution here, the second half of the race, it's got to be because of that tire wear, no?
I would think it definitely has something to do with it for sure. This stage in the race now, we're closing in on about 3/4 of the way through, so the tires are being abused, the cars are being abused with these restarts, the drivers are starting to get a bit abused mentally here, so getting down to the closing stages, we'll restart with less than 40 laps to go. But the bright side of all of that is that the track is really starting to work its way into itself, and Brett Suggs showing us that there is an outside line to work with here. He had a great opportunity to take the race lead away from Mike Rhino on that previous restart, wasn't able to do so. What did he learn from that quick run that he can put into this one and maybe make it happen? We'll find out here in just a few seconds.
Learned what to do and what not to do. And you can see we're going to get another replay of that restart. The 34 on the inside, the 33 on the outside, and the 34's been the master of the restarts tonight. No different here tonight, but the 33 able to match him nose to nose. You could put a piece of paper in front of those two guys and it would actually be able to match as they come out of turn number 2, heading on down on turn number 3, still door to door, coming out of turn number 4.
Another great opportunity for Brett Suggs to take the lead from the outside lane. Mike Rhino having to stick to that bottom that's worked for him so well, and it's going to work again. He clears Brett Suggs coming off of turn number 2. What does Suggs do? He drives it in a little bit deeper and gets back to the outside door of Mike Rhino. Rhino, the better run off of 4, slams the door shut, and now Keith McClellan trying to peek to the inside, but Suggs will jump down to the bottom. Single file throughout the first 5 going into turn number 3.
McClellan lost the back of that car just a little bit, lost a little bit of momentum, and it gave Suggs the opportunity to come down to that low side. And you can see right now he's following in the footsteps, the tire tracks, if you will, of Mike Rhino, trying to figure out where he's strong, trying to figure out where he's weak. And you can see he's trying to peek on down low to see if he can gain a little bit of momentum. But you can see right there, Mike Rhino just does a fantastic job driving on off the corner, and he puts 3 car lengths between him and second place.
Samantha Penny in here on the Facebook chat cheering on Mike Rhino. Well, Samantha, you're having a very, very good night because Mike Rhino has been in the dominating factor all the way through. We're on lap number 93 right now, and he has led all 93 of them. Took over the race lead from, well, he took over the pole position when Matthew Barkhouse decided to go for the $15 bonus by starting at the back of the field, and he's taken advantage of it, leading the entirety of this race. A few car lengths separating himself now back to Brett Suggs. Brett Suggs with a few car lengths in his advantage to Keith McClellan in the number 30 machine. And then you have Mike Alexander and Matthew Barkhouse completing your top 5. Those two brothers always a threat when they're on the racetrack, and now they've made their presence known inside the top 5 when it counts the most.
Absolutely. Matthew Barkhouse took that challenge to basically start. He won the pole. He was the fastest qualifier, put down the best time of these drivers, and he started in the back, wins this race. He ends up coming home with a cool $15 prize. So very cool to see that, running 5th place right now. And you can smell the leader. They're all single fire, almost bumper to bumper. Mike Rhino putting up a little bit of distance there. Got about a half a second now over Brett Suggs.
Lap number 97 goes in the books. 28 laps left to go here in the Apex Tire 125. Top 2 starting to separate themselves from the rest of the field. Keith McClellan, he's got a rearview mirror full of the 75 of Mike Alexander, who's trying to peek to the inside of him. Mike currently running in position number 4. He had to start all the way back in 14th. Caution flag is out once again. We have trouble in turn number 3. The 89 of Conrad Murphy is stopped. He now gets his car refired. We'll send things back on over to the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky instant replay to see exactly what happened there.
Yeah, we'll rewind. We'll take a look. The 89, we saw him get into a little bit of trouble there in the heat race earlier on, and a little bit of a pretty big hit there. We're going to take a look as we're queuing up the replay right now, and we'll focus in that black car with the yellow numbers there on the roof. The 42 gets a little piece of the wall, comes back down, sends the 89 on the wall there, and oh man, makes heavy nose contact with the 21. Definitely going to affect the motor, the radiator of that race car. You can see he's still running, but how powerful is he? How much power is he going to have there? And it looks like he's actually lost a lap at this point too. So once we get restarted, Mike Rhino's still going to be the leader, and we're still going to have 15 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed since since some of these previous cautions. Travis Roma is going around on the field right now to get back on the lead lap, so that'll put 17 cars on the lead lap. Let's see here. It looks like we have 3 cars that have retired from the event thus far. We obviously told you about John Fitzpatrick, who flipped over earlier on in this race. He is out, credited with 27th. Wade Cresswell in the 67 machine, he has retired from the event. He will finish in 26th. And Lewis Mason in the 84, who we saw took a vicious shot to that inside wall just a caution or two ago. He is out of the race and will finish in 25th. So we do still have 24 cars racing out of the 27 that started. 16 of them are now on the lead lap, so somebody new just went a lap down. 17th through 23rd are all 1 lap down. That would include Brandon Lively, Brad Hayes, Taylor Layton, Conrad Murphy, Cody Moorcraft, Roger Down, Kyle Gammon, and then Derek Gates, 24th place, currently 2 laps down. So if you were not mentioned in that one, you're on the lead lap and probably doing pretty good right now.
Yeah, Colin, you would think that would kind of slow down the action just a little bit, but nope, that's going to ramp it back up. It looks like we're going to restart with 20 laps to go. We're going to have a race inside of a race, and then the race up front for the race to the win. As these guys are racing, the top 16 are racing for the lead lap, and then you're going to have the next 10 or so cars racing for the essentially lucky dog position to try and be the first car 1 lap down to join these guys. But another great restart from another 34. Mike Rhino motoring down into turn number 1. Brett Suggs again able to hold on. He's at about the bumper there. He's going to come out strong on the outside and doesn't really able to hold on like he did last time by. But you can see that number 30 really strong on the inside. That Bud Light machine trying to get that number P2 spot.
20 laps remain in tonight's Apex Tire 125. Mike Rhino clears for the race lead, side by side for second. Keith McClellan in the 30 on the bottom. Brett Suggs on the outside. Caution flag is out again. Puts that battle to rest. We've got a few cars in trouble. Man, oh man, what a miserable night it has been for the 38 of Travis Roma. He finds trouble in this one. Again, the 17 of Brett Hayes is also involved. And then the 80 machine of Cody Moorcroft finding issue over there in turn number 3 as well.
Kick-Ass Beef Jerky getting a little bit of airtime tonight with the sole sponsor here, the Vidane TV Instant Replay. You can actually use the code SIM500 for 19% off at kickassbeefjerky.com, so check that stuff out. I haven't ordered any yet, but I keep hearing it's really good. Looking at the replay here, you can see the 29, the 17, the 27 all in a bunch, and this 89 there is there as well. And you can see the 17 gets in contact there with the 27, 19 gets by, but big time contact for the 38 and the 80. And those guys damage all the way around the race cars, and we've seen that same move from the 17 where he just kind of slams it in the first gear, spins those tires around, and points that car in the right direction. So tough break for the 17 and those guys involved, but looks like it's going to put another car on the lead lap here. Just taking a look at timing and scoring. Looks like 17 cars as well when we get to restart here. So it's definitely an opportunity. It looks like Brandon Lively in the 70 is going to rejoin that front pack.
So things starting to wind down here in the Apex Tire 125. We'll have 16 laps to go at the moment, obviously less than that once we go green flag racing. Brett Suggs is going to have to pull something out of the hat here, Paul. He's been trying his best to use that top side to his advantage, just can't quite beat Mike Rhino down on the bottom. But while he tries to figure that out, how aggressive does Keith McClellan get off of these restarts? Of course, this is short track racing. You can't get the idea of a bump and run out of your head just yet.
Does the 30 car use the bumper? Does the 15 use the bumper? Look who's P4. Mike Alexander, that number 75. He's strong, and we know he's definitely a clean racer. He's not going to move you unless he absolutely positively has to. But, man, take us to the start here, Kyle.
lots of Rev Racing stickers on the back of those cars inside the top 5, so maybe the teammates play nice here. 14 laps to go. Holy wiggle all throughout the top 5 there. Everybody's able to hang on. That could have gotten bad in a hurry. Outside line going to work for Mike Alexander. He drops down in front of his brother Matthew Barkhouse. Side by side again for the race lead. Brett Suggs knows he's at a bit of a disadvantage on the top side, but he doesn't care. He's going to try to make the best of it, but it's halted again. Caution flag is out. That's going to knock off some more laps that Mike Rhino has to worry about racing with Brett Suggs. And it looks like the one in trouble this time is the 42 of Mark Williams.
And you got to wonder, Mike Rhino is saying to himself, how many times do I have to nail this restart to win this damn race? Tough break with all these cautions, and we can see here we're looking at the instant replay, the 42, as you made mention. Mark Williams gets sent around. It looks like he gets a back bumper in the 2 car, and as he checks up just a bit, gets a little bit of help from the 80, sends him on around. Doesn't hit anything too bad. Doesn't even look like he was in the racing groove, but probably a good call there to throw the caution there on the race admins. But back up front, still Mike Rhino and Brett Suggs, the top 2.
Keith McClellan currently riding in position number 3. Then Mike Alexander and Matthew Barkhouse complete your top 5. How about the 16 of John Gahan? He's seen his fair share of attrition throughout this race. He currently runs in position number 6. Craig Tully is in 7th with his number 5. Ashton Tucker has worked his way back up inside of the top 10. He currently runs in position number 8. Riley Duncan is 9th, and Jake Goodwin completes your top 10. So I believe we just had Conrad Murphy go around the field to claim the Lucky Dog Award, so that'll now put 18 cars on the lead lap here in the closing stages. Less than 10 laps to go here on this restart, Paul. Will click off 116 at the line this time by. The lights are still on, so probably going to see 7 laps to go once we go back to green flag racing here. Not too many more opportunities left for these guys to beat Mike Rhino. They're going to have to do something in a hurry here if they're going to steal this one away.
Most definitely, but it does give us a quick opportunity up here in the booth to thank all the fans out there for watching us and bringing us into your homes here, in your living rooms, bedrooms, wherever you may be watching us. Thanks for watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Check us out on twitch.tv/Vidane Racing TV. Do a quick search on YouTube for Vidane TV, and as always, like and share on Facebook. But lining them up 2 by 2. Is this the final restart, or are they done wrecking yet? We got the 34, Mike Rhino, holding tough on the outside, and Brett Suggs has been strong on the outside, but just needs that opportunity to try and get around Mike Rhino on the inside line. And oh, by the way, there's the 30, the 75, and the 15 making up the top 5. Green flag in the air. Great start by Mike Rhino again. Not so great for the number 30. Depths on down low. We're going to be 3 wide heading on down into turn number 1.
I think Brett Suggs tried to get an early jump there on Mike Rhino and kind of stacked everybody up around him. Fortunately, everyone able to keep it pointed in the right direction, and I jinxed it because now the caution's back out.
Gotta wonder if it's going to be a green-white checkered finish here. We're just kind of taking a peek, seeing if we can find where that caution may have come out.
Happened towards the back of the field, Paul. Looks like the 00 machine of Tainton Woolridge got into the back of the 80 car, driven by Cody Moorcroft. Moorcroft got out of shape, wiggled. Well, no, he actually saved it, but I think that looks to be what the caution came out for.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there. Looks like between the 17 and the 80. The 00 does a great job of avoiding it. So just another two-car spin there, but back up front, Mike Rhino, Brett Suggs, one more time. And we'll see how many green-white checkered attempts we need here in the very first race of the RBR Maritime season number 2.
Should definitely see an extension of this race, so we'll all get a little bit of bonus racing for free here. We won't end it under yellow flag. Mike Rhino been so good in that Master Cam number 34 machine, trying to cap off another perfect night. We saw that happen last night, Paul, with Ryan Libby and the New England, Pennsylvania Shift Marketing and Design Grand National Series at Stafford Motor Speedway. We could be seeing it again here with Mike Rhino. Definitely took advantage of Matthew Barkhouse going to the back of the field and has been the absolute class of this race. Brett Suggs going to have one last opportunity to make that outside line work, and if it's going to work, it needs to happen now, because if not, he's not going to victory lane. So we will indeed go get the extension for the green-white checkered. 3 attempts at it. Here comes attempt number 1.
Can Mike Rhino hold on to it as he's holding on to it all night long? Man, he's just been the king of restarts all night. We've seen him do that with Tim's Corner Motorsports towards the beginning of the year, all the way out throughout the summer. Looks like the 33 tried to jump the start just a little bit. 34 saw it, and he nails it. Clears before he heads into turn number 1. That's 75 of Mike Alexander. Magic Mike, easy enough for me to say, trying to dip on down low of the 33 of Brett Suggs, trying to get that number 2 spot.
Coming off at turn number 4, white flag will hit the atmosphere one more time for Mike Rhino. He is all by his lonesome. Everybody else brawling for positions behind him. It doesn't matter for Mike Rhino. The perfect night will come true. Off at turn number 4, the Apex Tire 125 goes to Mike Rhino. He leads
it across the line.
Makes it to victory lane. Sounds like a massive crash coming across the start-finish line. Oh my goodness gracious. We have 2 cars upside down, about a quarter of the field piled up in turn number 1 there, but nonetheless, Mike Rhino gets it done. He wins the Apex Tire 125 over Brett Suggs, who narrowly held off Mike Alexander by 0.06 of a second for position number 3. Matthew Barkhouse went to the back. He comes all the way back up to finish in 4th, and Keith McClellan and his Bud Light number 30 machine will complete the top 5 finishers.
John Gahan's going to come home 6th in that 16 machine. Ashton Tucker, Jake Goodwin, Chris Roma, and Ted Cousins going to round out the top 10.
Checking out the rest of the results throughout the field. It's finishing in 11th place. How about that? I'm sure he'll take it. Travis Roma finishes in 11th, despite the craziness that he had to deal with tonight. Brandon Lively finishes in 12th. Craig Tully comes home 13th. Your 14th place finisher is the 89 of Conrad Murphy, and Daniel Vitch will complete the top 15.
Looking at 16th, going to be Mark Williams at 42 machine. We saw him get into a little bit of trouble earlier on. Tanton Woldridge in the double aught. He's going to come home 17th. Riley Duncan, we saw him actually finish on his roof. He's going to come home 18th. Kyle Gammon going to be the last car in the lead lap in 19th. And Brad Hayes comes home 20th.
All of these guys either off of the lead lap or did not finish. Roger Down, we saw him towards the front of the field throughout the first half of this race. He has to suffer a 21st place finish. Cody Moorcroft finishes in 22nd. Taylor Layton in 23rd. Derek Gay in 24th. And then Lewis Mason, Wade Cresswell, and John Fitzpatrick finishing 25th through 27th after their DNFs.
And you see there, Brandon Campbell, don't believe he made the start of the race, but I imagine he's going to be scored there with the final position there. We're going to take a quick break here and pay some bills here, maybe grab a quick ice-cold beverage. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get an interview here with the top 3 finishers and possibly a race administrator. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Vidane TV.
Have you seen my kick-ass subscription box anywhere? Oh, there it is.
Holy moly, what a race. Welcome back to Vidane TV. The very first race here, the Apex Tire 125, is in the books for the RBR Maritime season number 2. And I've caught up here with the third place finisher here on the evening. Where did he come from? Mr. Magic Mike Alexander in the 75 car. Mike, fantastic race, man. Where did you come from? Tell us about your race.
You know what? I missed qualifying. I just ran a conservative lap, and I was going to run a faster one, and I ran out of time. So it put me behind the 8 ball, starting at the back. But I just slowly picked my way through the field. It was really tough to get to make any ground up here tonight. Car was really, really tricky to drive, and I just slowly kept picking away, and at the end found myself up near the front anyway.
Yeah, you put on a heck of a show, and we made mention a couple of times. You ran a lot of races with Tim's Corner Motorsports throughout the early part of the year and throughout the spring and a little bit of the summertime there before the real tracks started opening up throughout Canada and the United States. But man, you just kind of methodically worked your way up to the top, and you found yourself in the top 5. How did the car feel towards the end of the race? Did the tires play any kind of factor?
The car actually felt really good still at the end. I felt like if I would have had more laps, I might have been at least able to battle with Mike a little bit. But just at the end, I don't know. I don't know how I had tires left coming through the field. I guess maybe just taking my time and not having to race as hard. But it's just it's good for Rev Racing too. We got 4 of the top 5. I just noticed.
Most definitely, and you took the next question right out of my mouth. If you were able to get up to second and maybe catch a restart side by side with the number 34, Mike Rhino, would you have anything for him on the restart?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't have had anything for him on the outside. Definitely, I don't think there would have been enough time. Just I had some right side damage coming up through, and I don't know if I ever would have gotten him. So I would have just probably taken my second and went and moved on. But congrats to him. Great job.
Well, definitely a well-earned third position here for Mike Alexander. And Mike, just want to give you the opportunity to hand the microphone over to you and thank any friends, family, sponsors, anybody that you want to thank that makes it happen in that number 75 machine. The floor is all yours.
Just the guys at Rev Racing. Like I said, we got 4 to 5, so that was good. Arner, Auto Salvage, Xander Sign Group, Donald Automotive, Celtic Air Services. That's pretty much it.
Awesome job here tonight, and definitely it's kind of early to race number 1 to be thinking about points, but a good points day nonetheless, finishing third here in the very first race. So awesome job here tonight, Mike, and we're actually going to shoot it over to Kyle. Kyle, I believe he caught up with P2 Brett Suggs in the 33 machine.
Indeed, I have, hanging out here with our runner-up, Brett Suggs. Brett, you were one thrilling driver to watch tonight. You made your presence known. We're fighting with Mike Rhino very hard throughout the late stages in that race, and we're one of the few guys that actually made that outside line work. What was it like from inside the car tonight?
First off, I just shout out to all these guys. We ran those TCM races back in the springtime and had a ball racing with them, so I really appreciate Craig reaching out to me and inviting me to this league. But man, for the race on hand, Mike was just super quick out there, really driving a great line and saving his equipment. You said I was one of the few to work the top side, and a few times I thought I'd be able to edge him out just in time for a caution, maybe grab the pole or the first starting spot on a restart. But unfortunately, cautions didn't quite fall in our favor. But nonetheless, still a great time trying to get the outside to work and battling with these guys.
It seemed that as the race continued to progress, that outside line seemed to be more and more of an option for you. Did you think that line was good enough for you to be able to use to get the lead, or was it just the strength of Mike Rhino that was too hard to overcome?
I think it probably would have been good enough to get the lead, but when the pole sitter's in control of these restarts, it's quite a challenge to try to time it. And a few times I had it timed just about perfect, and we were able to hang out on his high side. I had my spotter in my ear saying, "You are the leader at the line," a couple times. But, just after a couple laps, tires start to heat up, build up some pressures. You start to slip and slide a little bit up there. And then you got all these guys are super, super competitive. So you got a guy on your back bumper trying to peek to the inside, and definitely don't want to get freight trained there. But thought we might have had something for him, just not enough here tonight.
This kicks off a 6-race season. You finish it off with a second place finish. How important is it to you to start this off with such a good run and really setting yourself up good moving forward?
Absolutely, that's super important. Matthew, kudos to him for taking that back row bonus. Don't know if I would have had the courage to do it. I mean, it looks like he still had a great drive through the field, but I'm in it for the long run. So I'm going to run all 6 races, and the points are crucial. You don't want to start off on the wrong foot with a bad night here in race number 1. So looking forward to heading off into the next race.
It sure was fun to watch you compete out there tonight, Brett. Who would you like to thank for the second place finish?
Absolutely. Want to thank everybody that tuned into my stream. This is actually my first time really on iRacing since I made the transition to college. So first time in about 2 or 3 months. So shout out to everybody that tuned in on my Facebook live stream. We got the Speed Energy, the Custom Matco, Brett Suggs Racing Marketing, Lake Norman Power Cleaning, everybody that helps my IRL racing program, and of course you guys for putting on a great broadcast. Really appreciate it.
Those are the words from your runner-up finisher tonight, the 33 of Brett Suggs. He is ironically the only American in this Maritime League and made his presence known in a very, very strong way. Did all that he could to make that outside line work to his advantage, but just couldn't quite overcome Mike Rhino, and he comes home tonight in position number 2. Unfortunately, Paul, it appears that our race winner is being shy with the cameras tonight, and I don't know if we're going to get a word with him or not.
Doesn't appear so. It looks like he's actually going to jump right into the old victory wobbly pops, as it were, as our friends from north of the wall like to call them. Well, I know Mike James likes to call him that, but man, great race from Mike Rhino. Nailed every single restart. Just taking a look at the stats, led 125 laps here tonight. Started third and ended up moving up to that first position when the 15 dropped to the back. Matthew Barkhouse trying to get that $15 there for the pole challenge, but you can see, man, the fastest lap was the last lap of the race, a 14.173 second. That is insane, and that is flat flying around this track.
Indeed, it is. We saw some great pace. We saw some good racing around the Southern National Motorsports Park tonight. Really showed how racy that this facility is. And I think it produced a really good season opener for these guys. There were variable lanes to use. We saw some dominance. We saw some good hard racing. We saw some wild crashes, some spectacular moments. And all in all, a pretty good way for these guys to kick off their RBR Maritime League here at Southern National Motorsports Park. So I can see the schedule here myself, Paul, but all I have are the race dates. I'm not exactly sure where we go next week, so I'll send that one over to you because I feel fairly confident that you have more information than I do.
Well, we're looking at the same screen right now. You can see at the very top of your screen, we just had the Apex Tire 125. Taking tomorrow night off, you're looking at the Vidane TV broadcast schedule, because we work a lot, and we're starting to dip into the fall and winter series, and that's when sim racing really starts to pick up, when the real racing tracks start to slow down. We're taking tomorrow night off, but Thursday night we're back. Sim 500 Network here on Vidane TV, running the Michigan 150. Check that out, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And then next week, the 13th, Tuesday, Xander Signs 125 here, race number 2 for the RBR Maritime Group. And then Wednesday night, you and I have been looking forward to this race for a long time, the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Series, Better Half Dash 2. That's all the girlfriends and wives and the better halves of all the drivers that race in the NEPS League every Thursday and some Monday nights, but be sure to come back and check that out next Wednesday night, 8:15 p.m. start time. And then right after that, we go to Talladega with Sim 500. And we mentioned a couple of times here tonight, TCM, Tim's Corner Motorsports, the Super Late Model 300. That's going to be held right here November 20th live on Vidane TV. Qualifying events going to be all throughout that week, and you're going to catch every single one of them here on Vidane TV. But that's going to do it here for us tonight. We're going to pack everything up, and man, we're going to take tomorrow night off, have ourselves a couple of cold, refreshing beverages, and just enjoy the time off before we come back Thursday night to get back to work. But for everybody here at Vidane TV, I'm the producer, Showtime, easy enough for me to say, I don't even know my own name. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., Kyle Young joining me up here in the booth. We just got done calling the RBR Maritime Season 2 opener, the Apex Tire 125 at Southern National Motorsports Park. Thank you guys so much for welcoming us into your homes, your bedrooms, your living rooms, wherever you may have been watching us. Be sure to post your watch parties and join the discussion with hashtag VidaneTV. That's going to do it here for us tonight. If we don't catch you around, we'll catch you around. Have a great night. We'll catch you on the flip side.